Hi, today we're going to have a bit of a talk about the Vevor mag drill, the ZT-45H. It comes as you see it. It also comes with a 16mm and a 12mm annular cutter. Comes with a drill chuck and a set of Allen keys and a center pin. Now I bought this on the net. I can't remember the exact price. It was 200 and something. I will put up the price on the screen, and $23 shipping, which was quite reasonable, especially for where I am in Western Australia. I've used it a couple of times and found it a pretty good little bit of gear. I do have a large drill press which I've used over the years, which has done most of the work, but I've always wanted a mag drill. Something that I could use a bit more portable, and something that could run annular cutters, which this does beautifully. Okay, as you can see, comes with the handles for winding up and down. It comes with a fluid bottle for the cutting fluid, which is connected into the head by this tube here. Now, a couple of things about annular cutters. Being magnetic, you need a decent bit of steel to put them on. This table, for instance, is only 3mm and is really not sufficient to hold the magnetic drill for any hard type of work. Okay, so you've got to put it on something reasonably decent. The second thing is you've got to use fluid with it. You know, I see a lot of reviews, a lot of people saying, oh, I'm not going to hook up the bottle because it's inconvenient and I'll just use squirts on it and so forth. Now these are designed so that the cutting fluid will be sent to the drill bit where it's needed. Okay, it flows down the inside and it spreads the cutting fluid out into the cutter, so it goes exactly where it's needed. Okay, now it works with annular cutters, but it doesn't work with drill bits, because drill bits aren't hollow and they don't operate the same way as an annular cutter. The annular cutters have got the hole in the centre. You've got your pin that goes in the hole, and when you press down on the pin, that goes up and releases the fluid. So I've got the fluid turned on all the time, and it's no hassle. It only operates when I use the annular cutters. Now, a thing I have noticed on a lot of the reviews of these is they're saying there's no hole in the cap, and you know, it's not designed very well. It's designed really, really well, because what it does, and if you read the instructions, if you undo your cap to the first click, it sits loose on top of the container. There is your air, so it doesn't create a vacuum when it's operating. Okay, you set your valve to how much fluid you want to come out. Just uncap that slightly, your cap stays on, but there's plenty of air that will come in the cap to let the fluid go through. When you're finished, turn it back off, that seals it up. Very, very easy. Okay, now this comes with the drill bit, with the chuck, which you can use for ordinary drilling. Okay, now as you might notice, there is not a lot of area for this to accept the drill bit. That's where these are exceptionally good. They come with an Allen key in here. You can put that in there. crack it open. And it's quite tight. If you wind that all the way down, do it back up again. You have got quite a bit larger area to put a drill bit in there, and it works really well. You can actually get it up a little bit higher, probably another 1.5 centimetres higher if you need to, but that works extremely well. Now, one of the other features of this particular drill is it's got your on-off switch, it's got your magnet switch, it's also got variable speed, and it's got a forward and reverse switch. That's one of the reasons why I got this one, is so that I could do tapping with it, and I will show you how it taps. And there's a couple of little things you've got to do to make it tap efficiently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up with some drills, and I'm going to show you a drill stand I made for it to make the drilling with the chuck a little bit easier. And as I do some drilling, I'll go through some of the features and what it can actually do. Right, this is the drill stand I've made for when I'm using the chuck in the drill, so I can use drill bits. It's just some plate steel welded to some box section. On the bottom I've got a drill vise which I can adjust to different positions, and it just makes holding gear a little bit easier, plus it gives me a whole lot more room to drill down. Okay, so I can go through thicker bits of gear and whatnot, so making life very easy for when you're drilling. When you switch on the magnet, like so, it sticks to this press really well. I've got 10mm steel on the bottom, so lots and lots of grip on this one, and believe me, it doesn't move. I'm not going to show you how I made the stand. There's lots of stuff on the net about making stands for these, and there's a heap of different ways. Just get your drill bit up a little bit and some way to hold the work that you're working on. As I say, lots of ways of doing it. This just happens to be the way I've made this one, and it works quite well. It's portable, so I can take it around with me. It's not particularly heavy, maybe weighs 5 kilos. So yeah, easy enough to just chuck in the back of the vehicle. Rightio, so we'll get on with it and we'll start drilling a few holes. Okay, so I'm going to turn the magnet on, making sure it's stiff. This is 6mm steel, and to start, okay, straight through that without any problems at all. I'm just drilling this out to do a quarter 20 tap. So I'm just going to switch this out now for a tap, and I'll show you quickly how well this taps on it. While I do this, I'll leave the magnet switched on so that it doesn't move and it stays in its exact position. There's a couple of things to take into consideration when you're tapping. One, make sure your head's got enough room to go through the material. Okay, as was when I had it set up for drilling, the head would not come down far enough for it to tap. Secondly, you might have noticed I've taken a couple of the handles off. The reason for that is you need to be able to get at your controls. Now with the 3 handles on there, I found that it's quite difficult sometimes to actually get to the controls that you need to do. So make sure, well, I make sure the handle's off. Make sure the speed is turned down to the lowest speed possible. Okay, if it doesn't have not enough power, then you can increase it slightly, but I always start off with the lowest power just to make sure that it'll go through. Make sure you got your forward and reverse set properly. Once it starts, bring it down, let it grab, let it start taking itself down. When you know it's gone through, switch the controller to the center position. Once it stops, switch it to the reverse position and it'll wind itself out. Okay, so we'll get on and we'll do that. Okay, that was set at almost 4 on the dial by the time I got enough speed to be actually able to tap that. So that's a 1/4 inch hole in 6mm steel. So as you can see, it did it. I kept it slow so that it didn't go through too quickly. Okay, yeah, sometimes you can, if you've got plenty of room, you can go through a bit quickly as long as you're nice and quick on your reverse switch. Okay, so we'll just check that and make sure that that's tapped it through properly. So, as you can see, quarter 20 in there, no problems at all. So you can use this to tap it in plates like this. If you've got a larger piece of steel, you can move your mag drill around on the piece of steel, drill your holes where you need to, and you can tap them straight away. Okay, I hate hand tapping, and this does the job very, very well. Right, I'm going to take the chuck off and set it up for using the annular cutter. So you grab your supplied Allen key, undo your 2 Allen keys, or Allen screws, and that just slides out. There's 2 flats that go in there and the screws tighten down on. Okay, so I'll grab the 16mm cutter and we'll pop that in. And when you do it up, just give it a bit of a wriggle so that it finds the centre of the flats. Oops, made a mistake. I didn't put the centre pin in. You have to get your centre pin in, otherwise you won't be able to use your fluids. Okay, so we'll just pop the centre pin in and we'll try again. Make sure your keys are tight because they can work loose. Okay, so that's ready now to set up with the annular cutter. Okay, one little job I've done with this drill is something I would have found really hard to do very accurately with anything else. So what I want to do is make 2 holes in a piece of metal exactly the same width as these holes here. So what I've done is I've set the drill up so that it goes exactly into the hole. Okay, now a little trick is I've put a couple of pieces of metal which I keep. They're 6mm thick, and I've put it underneath the drill on this thin sheet metal, and that actually makes the drill quite stable. Okay, so you can use the mag drill on a thinner sheet. You just got to put a bit of a plate underneath it. So what I've done, set this up so that it's going directly through that hole. I'm going to bring my piece in. Damn, magnet's working well. It's attracting it to this piece here. So, set the piece up there, clamp it down nice and firmly. I bring my cutter down till I make sure that there is actually cutting fluid coming out. You see it's coming out. I'm going to set my speed to about halfway, and I'm going to cut a 16mm hole into the plate. Right, I had to reset this up. I wasn't getting a very efficient cut out of the other one, out of the other way I had it set up. So I've set it up now so that this piece is actually magnetised to the drill. The holder, my clamp wasn't holding it sufficiently. I didn't have enough room to hold it. So we'll go again and take this one out. Alright, as you can see, cut through that without any problems whatsoever. Now, the trick that I used to make it so I could get an exact hole, I'll set it up again and show you how I did that. Rightio, so I've centred the cutter over the hole, and then I get a plug to hold that exactly in place. Right, and we'll go again. Okay, so now I have got 2 holes in exactly the right place. So now I can move that plate around anywhere and it'll be held solid. And what I use that for was my vise that I put on the table. I needed 2 holes exactly the right distance apart, so I could move it around and centre these plugs into there. And I could have done it with measuring very carefully and whatnot, but this way it was very easy. Just to set the mag drill up. I've got 2 holes that are perfect space apart. And also, you can use this method if you're drilling holes in a new table. If you're creating a new fixture table and you want those holes exactly the right distance apart, what you do is you drill your first hole in your piece of template, move it over, put a plug in, drill that hole, move it over again, plug in, drill the hole, and you'll have perfect spacing every single time. Okay, so that's using the annular cutter for just one particular job. Now you can use it for a whole lot of other different things. I'll be using it mainly for just drilling holes and when I need a particular size of a very clean hole. Like these, they're exceedingly clean holes. And a little bit of a clean up. And you've got 2 very nice, exactly spaced holes. And that's just one little job you can do with them. There is a myriad of other things, especially out on the job site. Now, the only other thing I've got to do is just tell you about if you want to set this up so it doesn't drop all the time, there are 3 screws in here, and they are simply to adjust the gibs so that you can loosen this or tighten this to your preferred setting, so your head will go up and down without jamming. I have had to adjust it slightly after using it for a bit as the gibs wore in slightly. I just had to give them a slight tweak just to make sure that they were kept in the right spot. Okay, so this is the Vevor mag drill with variable speed and forward and reverse. Great little drill, good for the price. Just what I need for the home hobby shop. It does exactly what it says it does. Again, I stress, read the manual. A lot of people don't seem to read the manual and they seem to miss out on a few tricks with these and wonder why they don't work as good as they should do. It's a bit of trial and error. Like anything, use it, work it out, see how it works for you and adjust your use appropriately. The only other thing I've got to mention is it came with the 2 annular cutters, so I wanted some extras, so I went out and bought a pack of Vevor annular cutters. Cost me $103 with free shipping. They are in Imperial, so it was a set of 6 Imperial, and I've got the 2 in the metric, and yeah, they seem to work well. So reasonably good value. You can buy these with the multiple cutters. I'm not sure on the price of it, but for me the most used annular cutters are going to be 12 and 16 mil. But I thought I'd get these extras just so when I need to do another larger hole I can do those as well. As you notice, I've got a little holder for them, and it's 3D printed. I just 3D printed this up so that it just holds all the cutters and all the Allen keys and chucks and everything else. So that all just sits in there quite happily, and I keep it off to one side. Okay, so that's the Vevor mag drill. I believe a really good addition to the home workshop and good value for money. So there we go. If you've got any questions, just put something in the comments and I'll see if I can answer them for you. Okay, thanks a lot guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.